Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing Bitcoin, Ethereum and a little bit of the stock market to see what's going to happen for the next week. Of course, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates about this crazy crypto market. So, few things to take into consideration today, guys, for this episode is that today we're going to have the PPI and tomorrow we're going to have the CPI, both measurements of inflation and unfortunately, we don't have the answer. We don't have the answer if they're going to come higher than expected or lower than expected. Of course, higher than expected, which will mean that inflation is expecting to rise again, and therefore is going to put lots of pressure on stocks and crypto. Otherwise, if we're going to see lower data, then could suggest that inflation is cooling down, and therefore risk assets are going to go higher. Today I'm going to give you a both bullish and bearish scenario for you just to understand and to prepare if this situation happen. Of course, guys, our VIP group, you can find the link in the description below. We put, of course, buy levels, analysis of Bitcoin and also altcoins just to understand all the support levels, when we're going to buy, when we're going to sell. So you're going to have a proper guidance with all of this crypto trading. Of course, guys, just to remember, we are not a trading signals company. We provide ideas, we provide guidance and analysis, but we don't do like trade alerts. So very important to remember that. So let's cut the chase now. Let's get into Bitcoin. Daily chart looks again quite interesting. Yesterday we were saying with our VIP group that 63,500 was a big level of resistance. We shorted the movement, and guess what happened? We came home with a nice amount of money. So people actually were shorting this, made a lot. So very good to all of them. But at the moment, guys, because we had this rejection over here, we need to understand what is going to be the next move for Bitcoin. So looking at the chart right now, I can see that we could see, in terms of like a bearish scenario, a higher PPI and CPI, I'm going to say not a higher, but slightly higher than expected, could bring risk assets down, especially because I'm going to show you later. But first of all, the stock market is overextended. And second of all, Bitcoin is getting rejection after rejection in this trend line over here. So the first thing I will think about it, in order to see a little bit of a bounce, will be a potential drop down to this area over here. So $59,000 could be actually a very good level for me to see a potential rejection around this area. And then, of course, we're going to see what's going to be happening after that. So we can even see from here, could be like a channel for me right now. And we could be going down, let's say, around this area over here. And I got like a potential scenario in my mind. Let's say, for example, that we're going to see today the PPI report coming higher than expected. Then Bitcoin could drop to 60,000, around 59 to 60,000. But then if CPI is going to come, let's say, lower than expected, then what we could be seeing could be a reversal from this point over here. So it could be, let's say, this one, and then boom, to the outside. And in this situation, we could be forming a beautifully inverted head and shoulder, which then, of course, could bring us back to all-time high. But let's say, for example, the CPI comes higher than expected, PPI comes also higher than expected, then the risk will be, if we're going to also go down and lose this level over here, if we're going to go and zoom out, this big block over here around this area, I'm not going to say the exact point, 51,250, whatever, is going to be the exact point where we're going to go. But there is a risk that if we're going to keep going down around this area, what it could be happening will be, I'm going to go and take my little brush, but could be happening this, now it's trying to break up again. And then we could be see potential drop again down to this area, if not a little bit lower. And then again, this. And then we're going to keep going down and potentially follow this type of like channel, downtrend channel, until we are able to break forcefully the channel over there. So you want to see a daily candle breaking above here. That's going to be very important, because when that happens, of course, then you can say, okay, we're breaking to this level, then we're going to go up to this level over here. But if you're not going to be able to break this channel, this area, then the downside is more likely to occur. That's why I was informing my VIP members yesterday that 63,000 was a big resistance, to be very careful, because if you go on the internet, on YouTube, all the moon boys already saying that we were going to go to $90,000. Now, let's have a look more on the 4-hour chart so we can understand a little bit better what's going on. So even yesterday we were saying that what we would have seen a potential. So we had a breakout to the upside a few days ago. So I don't know if you remember, but we broke around this area over here. We broke to the upside, went up to 63,400, and then what happened is we went down again. We retested this area, and now it keeps going to the upside. So even from here, guys, we had this nice breakout. We had a retest over here. So what we want to make sure right now, and I'm gonna go and zoom in this one a little bit more, but you can see that we have a potential level of support around this area over here, but also the other level of support as well is into this diagonal pattern over here. So this area, this line over here, is very important, and I'm gonna go and highlight this one as well. So this line is very important for Bitcoin to stay above, because if you're gonna break above, then we might be able to push down to 59,000 to even $56,000. So if you hold, we are pretty good. If you're not gonna be holding, there is a risk we're gonna go to the downside. So really urge you to be careful. And people are asking me as well, when they ask me questions, they ask me, Andrea, would you, what is your bias? Is the CPI gonna come lower, higher? To be honest, I have no idea, because unfortunately the Federal Reserve, there are a bunch of, I'm not gonna say the word criminals because it's not fair, but they are really, they can really manipulate data, so they can just make things result the way they want. Market makers already have this information in advance, so all this market is highly manipulated, so I can't really say what am I gonna do. But of course, if I was about to take a trade, then I will respect the levels which I think Bitcoin could go down to, let's say for example here or even here. And then, of course, I will go longer, let's say in this area, short in this area. So that's the way I'm going to react to this kind of news. And also at the same time, which is very important, if I see, for example, the CPI is going to be released and it's like super, let's say we're expecting a 3.5 CPI, so inflation at 3.5%, and it comes at 2%, and the market start to rip to the upside, guys, I'm going to go crazy long, of course. That's not even a doubt. But if, on the other hand, we see the very low CPI, market starts to collapse, of course, then I can take the opportunity and go short in that case. Okay, guys, now let's go into Ethereum. Let's see Ethereum, what's going on with it as well. I'm just going to cancel all of this. I'm going to go now on the daily and the 4 hours just to see a little bit the point of the situation right now. So we can see that ETH, it's, again, like we can be this channel here, it could also be going down around this area, but my level of interest for Ethereum, if we're gonna go down even more, would be around this area, guys, over here, 2,800, 2,500. I think it's a very important level which I'm really watching at the moment. So I want to see, I mean, ETH compared to Bitcoin looks more that it has bottomed more, and I think that around 2,800 we should see a big reaction from Ethereum. Otherwise it's going to be a big problem. So I think that Ethereum could be also reversing sooner than BTC if we're going to start to go to the upside. And of course, as I was saying before, looking at the chart from here, looks like a bullish pennant, and or even like an ABCD pattern. So I could see that we're going to go and potentially go as high as 4,800 once we're going to be able to break it, which is all-time high. So that could be a very good level to go to. I also want to show you something with ETH in terms of retracement. We can see, how much we actually retracing. We can go to the lowest point to the highest point and see all the levels from there. So I'm going to go to take my Fibonacci retracement. So I'm going to go from the lowest point from here, and then I'm going to go to see. Here we go. So the Fibonacci 6.8 says $2,500. That could be a good level, for a big support. Otherwise, even 2,800 looks pretty good as well. And even if I go to the lowest point or the bottom of the bear market, it's telling me the same thing, guys. It's telling me that 38% Fibonacci retracement is at 2,800, and the 50% Fibonacci is at 2,500. So that's what I'm really rely on at the moment for my buying levels. I'm gonna DCA the way down. That's what I'm potentially going to do. And then after that, of course, I could see Ethereum to do this kind of movement, as I explained before, 1, and then let's say 2, to go back to roughly 4,800 to even $5,000. Now let's have a look at the S&P 500, guys. We can see it's going to be our potential leading indicator. S&P 500, as I explained before, I mean, to be completely honest, let me just go back to my RSI, which I cancel. But if I gotta get completely honest, guys, the S&P looks pretty good. Like, it just looks like he wants to go higher, but it's all dependent, of course, on the CPI. Because if this is gonna play, guys, that's what you could really see. You could see like a big movement. I'm not gonna say like for the next until maybe September, October, but 6,000 definitely could be a potential scenario. But more, let's say, intraday. Let's see what we can expect from here. I'm gonna go on the daily chart and see what's happening right now. I mean, daily chart, it's very, very obvious. You can see this divergence in place. So the bearish divergence is now touching exactly this point over here on the RSI, and the most likely scenario could be a rejection down to here. So that's the only thing that is making me a little bit scared about this CPI and PPI, is the fact that the S&P is very overextended. And of course, if we're going to see a CPI lower than expected, inflation is coming down, this thing, guys, is going to fly. Like, really is going to go insane. And we could see really potentially going up to $4,600, which is, looking at the Fibonacci extension, was my first target over here. But of course, if we're going to see a CPI higher than expected, with inflation ramping up again, then we could potentially see these pathways to go maybe up this way and then form this movement down to maybe $4,800. But again, I still feel like we are in a bull market, so I'm not really scared. Even if this happens, that's okay. Then we're gonna continue higher later on. So the last thing I want to show you today, guys, is the DXY, dollar currency index. So we can see what's going on, with this. So DXY, it's pretty much. Let's have a look at now. I'm gonna go on the daily so we can cancel all of that. So over here, looks like also the DXY is a little bit topping. Looks like it's going to the downside as well. But again, it all depends on today. And unfortunately, I don't have the crystal ball to tell you, oh yeah, this is going to happen, because I don't know what's going to be the level of the CPI. But looking at the data and the analysis, I wouldn't be surprised if the DXY could be going down to this area over here at around 104 to 103, simply because we have a big level of support. And then another big level of support could be also around this area in the future for like 102. But of course, let's go level by level and let's break all of this piece by piece every single day. I'm gonna go also on the 4-hour chart and see what's going on over here. I mean, that's very messy, to be honest. This is like a very, very messy chart, but from here we can actually detect that we could be going down around this area over here. That definitely could be on the cards, but again, all depends on the CPI. So again, going over here, if the DXY is going to be able to break this area of resistance, you could go back to 106. Otherwise, if it gets rejected, it's actually potentially going to go down to 104 again, and that could be very bullish for stocks and crypto. The last one I want to show you today, which is very important, is also the US, the 10-year Treasury Yield, to see what's happening with them as well. So I was actually posting. That's actually funny, because I was posting this on a few days ago, and I said we were actually going to the downside because we had this rising wedge. Look what happened, boom, boom, boom. That's actually went very, very well. But right now I was saying like we could have gone higher from here, but let's break it down again, because markets can change so many times. We have to be very, very careful. This, guys, is the 2 years Treasury Yield of fixed income that has a negative correlation with stocks and crypto. If this one goes up, stocks and crypto is going to go down. So let's see over here, guys. I mean, Looks like, in my opinion, that the 2 years is actually forming a potential bear flag, but at the same time, is sitting at an important level of support over here. So the thing is, if he's going to be able to break this support here, then of course we're going to go lower, maybe around this area, and that could be very bullish for stocks and crypto. But at the moment, you know, looking at the data, I'm going to go like on the 4-hour chart, so just to see a little bit better. It looks like, you know, the 2 years is actually forming a what we call a bear flag. So the bear flag is this, and then is this. So that could be actually be happening, and if this happens, of course, it's going to be very positive for crypto and stocks. But at the moment, I mean, we just had to wait and see what's going to be happening in the next few days. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful. Stay safe around these 2 days. Of course, don't trade in anticipation of the news, because market makers know better than us. They can really fool us. They can really play with us. So you might end up, you know, losing money if they decide to go, you know, to crash the market, or to go long or short. Of course, you know, not financial advice. This is my own opinion, so don't follow what I'm saying right now. But at the moment, I'm currently very unbiased. I'm really neutral, and I want to see a clear direction before taking action in the nearby future. Take care, and I'm going to see you very soon tomorrow.